Thank you for that comment. Well, I believe, or at the moment, many people are very much still concerned with this label of game. I think very often we are very shy of using it. There's just this fear, and I think it's quite ambivalent, because maybe characterizing an approach as a game might also use or might serve as this hypermediate moment where you consciously point to the so-called magic circle of the sphere. So you could point to, this is a certain medium with a certain tradition. Do not forget that. So you might actually avoid a discussion of, how authentic or how far do we have to go in representing and trying to generate an authentic experience that we cannot, because we know we can't create that experience. And I just believe it's so interesting, because games should not be regarded as something separate. I mean, even our approach, it's via streaming sites, for example, using Steam or other sites. So it's so entangled in this whole digital network that I think it's just very, very interesting to look at where do we find playful structures, and where are they already there and established. And another thing, it hasn't come up, but I just thought about that, and I thought that might be interesting, is, for example, this idea of collecting items. So I think you have that in Call of Duty, where within the missions you certainly collect items, a bit like collecting memories. So you have actually this museal idea of, all right, we have the past, we have objects of the past, and then you have even a separate submenu where you can access them and then look at your collection and of your collectibles of the past. So I think that's very interesting, that there you, for example, see an influence of museum or pedagogical approaches within gameplay.
Can I quickly chime in on this as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I would add, I fully agree with what Tabea is saying. I want to connect back to what you started with, Tabea, your observation on the word game itself. I think that that's a core discussion that we need to have a little bit, in the sense that when we talk about game as a notion, a lot of people might have a very specific image of what that is. They might think of Mario Kart or something like that. But a core element, if we look at today's game industry, has to be that the industry has diversified a lot over the past few years, decades. So there are all sorts of experiences that you connect to that, and that fall under the label game. If you would go on Steam and look for a game, but ultimately they address very different things. So interactive narrative experiences, which is something that I would find very interesting, they are often also categorized under the notion game, but nevertheless they do something very specific. And so I think part of the conversation has to be that this is also what we're talking about, these forms of interactive engagement under the label game, but that doesn't necessarily adhere to the image that we might have of that. So that's certainly something that I wanted to add.